without mental health, as I always say. Good evening, viewers. My name is Dr. Oluseun Ogunubi. I want to welcome you once again to our Friday tonic, Mind Matters with Dr. Nubi. How has our week been? Each time I get to see you, I'm always happy, because that means between last week and now, we are doing very well. I want to encourage you to keeping on. Don't complain about situation of things. Remember our theory. We have a formula, and our formula is, if there's a problem, can I do anything about it? The answer is no. Then, why worry? If there's a problem, and we ask ourselves, can I do anything about this problem? And the answer is yes, then why worry? If your answer is no, then why worry? That is our theory. So, hi everybody, how are you doing? It's important for us to know that an average of one person commits suicide in 40 seconds. Women are more likely to attempt suicide. Men are more likely to commit suicide. It's important to know that a quarter of Nigerians have one emotional problem or the other. Why stigmatization is the order of the day? Because of the concept of false belief with regards to the causation of mental illness. What is causing mental illness? Most people don't know, so they attribute it to the witches in their village, the arrows of the enemy, and also they attribute it to things like mother-in-law syndrome or father-in-law syndrome. And because of this, instead of presenting in the hospital, they go to the mountains to pray. It's as a result of stigmatization. Also, because of inability of the government of the country to support the mental health and pass the mental health bill into law, what we have is the archaic Lunacy Act of 1958. It was from Lunacy Ordinance of 1916. And ever since then, the ninth session of the House of Assembly has refused to pass the mental health law. The mental health bill, if passed into law, would have helped so much, in the sense that it would have provided opportunity for people to seek redress, to seek help. Redress with regards to how they've been, ostracized from the society. Many people cannot get employment. Many people cannot get partners to marry. They are being more or less excommunicated, ostracized, or set aside. They cannot contribute meaningfully. Some cannot even take any position. The mental health bill, when passed into law, would have helped citizens suffering from mental illness to get respite care. Because in that bill, there are many facilities that are supposed to be provided. What do we have? How many neuropsychiatric hospitals do we have? The private hospitals, are we supported? I run a private organization, private psychiatric hospital. What support do we have? Therefore, we have to bill the patients at amounts that most of them are not able to afford. If we have funds, we will be able to leverage on this fund and subsidize care. What is happening to community psychiatry at the lower level of care? The primary health centers, why are we not incorporating the secondary health care centers? These are the things that are in the mental health bill, which if passed into law, you will be surprised, viewers, that patients go as far as Republic of Benin to get free medication. And here we are, the giant of Africa. We are not doing much about that. It is something that, pains one each time I look at the fact that this session again is going, and if this House of Assembly, if they should go without passing the bill, we have to start all over again. And this is what has bedeviled the mental health bill. Let's ask ourselves, why is it difficult to pass this bill? When this bill is passed into law, it will reduce the amount that patients spend. People can afford to have HIV. They will go to any of the APIN lab or PEPFAR lab They go to any hospitals and they get free drugs or retroviral drugs. But when anyone has mental illness, he or she will pay. As a matter of fact, the Lunacy Act says that state should sell its property or property to take care of it. These are the things we have been clamoring, and we have been saying that government should do a lot. Now, if you're in any position, if you know anyone, if you know your senators, your House of Rep, anyone, it's important to talk to them that there's need to pass the mental health bill. Welcome again to this Friday program. I remain Dr. Oluseun Peter Ogunubi, as I've said earlier. This is Mind Matter with Dr. Peace. As we always say, there's no health without mental health. So I say, there's no health without mental health. There's no health without mental health. There is no health without mental health. And so say all of us. My friends are joining on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram Live. So if you see me moving and shifting from one end to the other, I'm also trying to read the Facebook and see what friends are saying. Good evening, Sister Idowu, my friend. Good evening, Rifi Fioma. I know you're me. Iyayi Victor, Misodi, Tadil, Mercy Hill. That's my wife joining. You can contact her for your homes and properties and everything. So she has to pay me for that free advert. Just Kuma Amara joined. Choose Kuma. How are you? Tokumbo Ali. How are you? This is my friend. How is everybody? Thanks for joining my life. I do not take it for granted. It's because of you that I'm here. What do I do? This is my own corporate social responsibility to my nation. Part of my Hippocratic oath is that while I practice my heart, I will use my knowledge to impact society and generation at large. Why it is beneficial for me business-wise, it's also beneficial to the society because people have benefited a lot from this. I've been doing this since this year started. We have treated several topics. It is important that you follow me, Dr. Nubi Peter, either on Twitter or on Instagram. Go through my page. I post every live at the end of the live broadcast. Go through, we've discussed stress management. We've talked about the issue of addiction. How do you understand? How do you know that you're addicted? How can you overcome addiction? We've talked about coping with grief. We've talked about battling depression and overcoming depression. We've talked about being assertive in communication. We've talked about letting go. When someone says he doesn't or she doesn't want you again, how do you move on? We've talked about several things. Parenting skill, we have discussed. We've talked about youth in time like this. With the last session, we've just concluded our series on coping with tides of our time. Wow. Sometimes when I'm going through my timeline, I say, wow, it's been a wonderful journey. And this is August. Thank God for consistency. Sometimes I miss, but I've tried as much as possible, despite my busy schedule, to keep up time with us. As I said, no longer 1 hour, 15-30 minutes, we're done. So that you can share these things. I discovered that when it is 1 hour, you are not able to share them. Thank you. People are hailing me on Facebook. People are watching on Facebook. So, thank you so much. Adalgo. Thank you, Fumi Aminu. How are you? Thank you, my friends on Instagram. So tell everyone, let them join. We are talking about something that is so dear to my heart today. We're going to have part 1, part 2, and probably part 3 of this series. I do not want you to miss this series at all. I don't want you to miss this series at all. Guess our topic for today. Oh, my sister is joining. That's my big sister, and Bola Nubi. Thanks for your encouragement all the time. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate everyone joining this live. Tell everyone, send the link. Join Dr. Ogunubi Instagram Live every Friday, 6 o'clock or thereabout. Transmitting live from my crib here, Grace Cottage Clinic, one of the premier private hospitals solely dedicated for psychiatric care here at the heart of Ilopeju in Lagos. I welcome you to the topic of today. What are we talking about? Guess. spirituality and mental health. Quite controversial, you will agree with me. Spirituality and mental health. Spirituality and mental health. Yes, let it ring. Spirituality and mental health. The truth is, we're in Africa, we're in this part of the world where we believe so much in God. And it is a very good thing. Many of you that say that, oh, we are too religious, we are too this. Imagine a nation that has no belief in God. They do not trust or believe in anything. Imagine if Nigeria as we are now, we don't even believe in any deity. At the end of the day, what kind of society are we going to be having? So, we're going to be talking about spirituality and mental health. Many people don't bring their clients or patients or relatives to hospital on time because they believe that that illness, how can somebody just wake up and start keeping to himself or herself, start contemplating suicide? Then it is what we call Yoruba Asasi. Igbo say they do am. Nah, no normal. Nah, they don't do am. But you know that this is emotional illness. It affects the brain. The brain is an organ in the body. We have the frontal part of the brain. You have the middle part, the side, and the back part, which is the occipital part, and the upper part. If any part of this brain is affected, it will determine the abnormality in that function. It is important for us to know that this brain may be small, but there's no health without mental health. The way you take care of your heart and you don't want to have hypertension, you take care of your lungs, all this asthma, everything, you prevent yourself from inhaling anything. So also the brain needs protection. And once the function of the brain is affected and begins to act abnormally, what do you have? You have mental illness. But many people are not aware of this, my Turenchi. Many people are not aware of this Turenchi. They say, about Turenchi. All this one you are saying, doctor, na lie, then do am, na arrow of the enemy. I know you doctors will not agree. Really? So today, let's talk about it. Spirituality and mental health. What is your own belief about mental health? The causes of mental illness. Or let's just say the one cause of mental illness that you know. Do you believe it's still an arrow of the enemy? Let's say the truth. I know you are a professor. I know you are learned. I know you went to school. I know you are a graduate, master's degree. But when you see somebody that has mental illness, or somebody just start talking anyhow, or someone removes his clothes, or someone becomes very afraid, or someone becomes panicky, or someone begins to do things in abnormal manner, what comes to your mind? They have seen a star. The enemy at work. Oh, cousins from the mother's house. Die! There's need for us to balance the two. Prayer is important. Religion is important. And I'm going to be talking about the merits and demerits of this so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to balance. Today, we're going to be talking about the introduction, religion, spirituality, and mental illness. At the end of the day, we will balance it up and we will discover that religion has been of help. At the same time, it has become a deleterious stuff. But your ability to balance it is what makes it work for you. Spirituality is good. Spirituality is good. But when you ignore the medical advice, especially with regards to your mental health, it becomes bad. But when you don't ignore, researchers have shown that spirituality aid treatments. Gone are the days that you say doctors don't believe in God and co. Let me tell you, the Royal College of Psychiatry in UK, they are now adding spirituality to training. American College of Graduate of Medical Education has made it mandatory for residents in psychiatry and co to learn about spirituality and mental health. The World Psychiatry Association has a group specifically for spirituality and mental illness. And the latest report that got to me was that Indian Psychiatry Association has actually created a task force to make sure that their medical council ensure that medical students clerk patients and they include the history of spirituality. So it is very important that the world is changing. If you're a medical doctor outside, you're my colleagues, you can challenge me. So people should not say doctors don't believe in God. That's a fallacy. The motto of medical profession is we care, God heals. And it stands. It is just when it is tilted. You're supposed to bring somebody to hospital, but you say the demon should die. And you don't bring the person to hospital, then it becomes a problem. But when the person is in the hospital and you are offering prayer for that person, it becomes a balanced equation. And that's what we're talking about. I see people who present late in the hospital. And I say, Madam, what happened? Sir, what happened? 15 years. They say, I thought it was an arrow of the enemy. That grieves my heart. Very, very important. And we must not mix the two together. We must understand that spirituality involves beliefs and obedience in an all-powerful force, which we usually call God. Listen very well. Spirituality is belief and obedience to an all-powerful force, usually called God. And this God controls the whole universe. It is very important for us to understand that spirituality is the sacred realm of human existence. Our human experience, the sacred realm of it, is spirituality. It is spirituality that produces good qualities and qualities that you see in human beings. Qualities like love, faith, honesty, compassion, tolerance, all these things, hope. All these things are produced by religion, by spirituality. The connectiveness, that serenity, that sense of, I have an all-powerful force, God, who controls the universe and he knows me. That is spirituality. As a matter of fact, scientists are reporting that there's a non-dominant part of our brain that is responsible for our spiritual experience. And in a time to come, you will be discovering that many mental illness patients, at the end of the day, they become either over-religious or not-religious because that part of the brain is affected. Research is in that part of the brain is going on, that a non-dominant part of the brain is actually important for our religious and our spiritual experience. It's very, very important that we know that spirituality is not religion. Religion is institutionalized spirituality. So I tell people I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. Religion is the one that every one of us, there's a part of our brain that has spiritual experience. No man can exist without believing anything. The fact that atheist says there is no God is a belief on its own, that there is nothing. So there's always that consciousness. You either accept or you reject it. Simple. But when it now comes to religion, it is institutionalized spirituality. So we have several religions because it is this religion that now divides, and you now have division based on beliefs, based on culture, doctrines, traditions, programs, and co. So you say, I am this, I'm Muslim, I am Christian, I am Hindu, I am Buddhist. All these are now institutionalized spirituality. Don't ask me for my religion. Ask me if I'm spiritual. I can decide to now look at the vehicle, which is religion, that I am at peace with. I know someone who was going to a particular place before, but the way and mode of worship did not align with her spiritual belief. Therefore, he had to move to another place that had connection with that particular belief. Institutionalized spirituality is religion, while spirituality is that connectiveness that a man will feel when he's relating with a force that is higher than him. And when that force is not there, he feels the void and he continues to search. And this is who we are as human beings. The fact that you don't go to church, you don't go to mosque, you don't do this, there is still that conscious or unconscious connectivity with you and in you. And that is why when things happen to us, there's tendency for us to spiritualize it and say, oh no, this is a spiritual something. So it is important that we understand this. And it's important for us to know, because mental health, when we talk about mental health, he said that we are talking about absence of mental illness or presence of a well-adjusted life that is able to cope with the society, produce things, support the community, and religion, spirituality, and everything. So mental health is not only absence of mental illness, but also the presence of this serenity. I know people that are searching for that hollow in their mind. They can, though they don't have mental illness, but they are not having mental health. Of course, I know that over the years, Sigmund Freud, for example, he ascribed religion to be illusion and neurosis. But Carl Jung considered it as a very important part of human existence. Therefore, it's important that when we are looking at people with emotional illness, we take the history of their spirituality or religion, we respect this religion as much as possible in caring for them, and as much as possible partnering with religious organizations or spiritual bodies is not something that is out of place. It is very, very, very important. It is important for us to know that we cannot separate human beings, and my colleagues will benefit more from this particular teaching. It is important to know doctors don't deny the existence of God, and we need to respect the existence of God in our patients. If a patient says they want to pray, we should allow them to pray. If a patient wants to go to the theater or anything and they say, let us pray, you should respect and not see them as a fool or as fools. Religion, spirituality, and mental illness. So that is setting the background and introduction today to tell us that there's no single doctor, except a doctor that doesn't want to just maybe read or just has not gone through. I've quoted scientific fact to say that gone are the days that you say, oh, they are doctors, they don't know God, no wonder. No, doctors know God. They understand that aspect in their patients, and as much as possible, we are not saying no way. But what we are just saying is we must balance it. The two are not mutually exclusive. It's not one or one. It is one and one. I always tell my clients, you want to pray, pray, but use your drugs as well. You want to sing to God, but make sure you come for follow-up and you take your medication. It's very key. The fact that you use your medication does not make you an infidel. It does not make you a superstar that, oh, for the past 50 years, I've not been to hospital. Oh, glory to God. I thank God for your life. So it is very, very key that we understand these parts. Please, if you are going through any emotional illness, don't just go to church, to mosque, traditional healers and co. It is important you seek help in the hospital. No doctor will tell you not to pray. No doctor. As a matter of fact, we respect our client's religion. We respect their spirituality. No doctor will tell you The only thing a doctor will not allow is you cannot be pouring libation or you bring concussion to the consulting room. Of course, nobody will allow that, because you must not use your own religion or spiritual belief to affect the other person. Because most people don't present early. They say if they go to hospital, they will not believe that it is an arrow of the enemy. So they will first of all move around. They will be moving up and down. It's when they are now tired, they will not go to the hospital. I saw someone this week and I said, why? Sir, why did you do this? How can somebody be at home for such a year or such years? This is not 1 year. We are talking of more than 10 years. So such years. January, December. And he was very sincere to me. He said, Doctor, we thought it was an attack. So there's no mountain. He started mentioning spiritual mountains. Mountains that you yourself you have not heard of. Both in southeast, south. Even in the north. I didn't know that there are mountains in the north too. When I say mountain, I'm not talking of geographical mountains. My viewers, you understand those mountains. And I said, these things, it's good to pray. Or you could have just brought the person. And now, maybe we could have taken care of that person from stage 1. That person is already having what we call diffuse brain damage. Everything. Could not relate everything. I need to say that it wasn't bad like this before. And they have spent money. Unfortunately, there was no money now. Even to admit, I said here in Grace Cottage Clinic, our money is this and that. No money. They spent all the money while sojourning, looking for help for more than 10 years. By the time they were presenting, everything has been depleted. Friends, I respect your religion. I respect your spirituality. I'm not saying that you don't have any right to practice either. But I'm just saying that when it comes to mental illness, it's a problem of the brain. Same way, you have hypertension, problem of the heart, asthma, problem of the lungs, diabetes, problem of the pancreas. Same way you have kidney issues. You have rheumatism, problem of the bone. Same way I'm using glasses, problem of the eyes. The brain is inside the skull. The function of the brain is to modulate our feelings, our thinking, and our behavior. Apart from the fact that it is also used for locomotion, which means walking, sitting, posturing, and co. So when people have their hands shaking, or they can't stand, or they can't walk very well, it's a brain problem. When people are convulsing, when they are convulsing, you call it epilepsy over and over. It is the problem of the brain. When people cannot sleep, it is the problem of the brain. When people begin to feel people are against them, they want to kill them, it is the problem of the brain. When people stay inside and they don't go out for many years and they are not doing anything about their life and their life is standstill, it is the problem of the brain. When people don't know the boundaries, they are disinhibited, they can remove their clothes, they relate, they just chat people they don't know, or they are selling all the things they have, thinking that they are very rich when they are not. It is the problem of the brain. When someone who has made it in life, just because of one failure, begins to feel hopeless, helpless, worthless, it is the problem of the brain. There are certain chemicals inside this brain that when those chemicals go down or they become too much, the brain behavior will change. The brain activities will change. Everything is not arrow of the enemies. When people are taking drugs and you have family meeting every December 25th or 31st, and they are in the middle, and you begin to talk to them anyhow, you abuse the person, and the person abstained January 1, January 2, and the person goes back January 3. It is the problem of the brain. The brain has been rewired. It has become an addiction. Friends, I want to beg us. Let us change the narratives. Let us stop attributing every mental illness to spiritual attack. How come hypertension is not being said to be spiritual attack? You say you have diabetes, you go to the doctor. Rheumatism, hypertension, you go to your doctor. Friends, why? What has brain done to you? Why is it that when brain problems start, that one is spiritual, but liver problem is medical, kidney problem is medical, heart problem is medical, eye problem is medical, but when it comes to brain, it is spiritual attack? Why? Why? Let's think about this ignorance. Let's think about this ignorance. People will spend millions on cancer. When you ask them to pay for their mental health, they say, what? Is it not just to talk? But here they are ready to go to India to spend millions to have kidney transplants. There is no health without mental health. Government will rather roll out policies to stop malaria, but mental health bill has been lying fallow in the House of Assembly. 9th legislative session. Going. Election year is coming. From next year, campaign. What is going on? Why do we relegate this particular organ to the background? Mental health matters. Events of the past few months and days and weeks have shown us athletes, Olympic athletes, have stopped competition because of their health. Great lawn tennis players stopped playing because of her health. Somebody withdrew from Big Brother because of his mental health. Don't we get it? You still believe that it is Asasi? It is Owaye? For somebody to be behaving abnormally because the brain is affected? I'm pleading this evening that while I appreciate the values of spirituality, we must never allow it to tamper with our mental health care. When you are ill, depressed, anxious, whatsoever, seek help. It is not necessary that until you begin to walk on the road naked, smearing feces on your head, speaking and laughing, picking things from the gutter, that is when you now say this person has mental illness. Little things like fear, panic, believe that people are picking your things, people are stealing your things when no one is even touching them. You're always locking your doors. You don't eat food from people. Before you sit down, you first of all clean the chair 10 times. Or you are at home, you continue to feel you have not closed the door, you go back, you come back, you go back. When people are talking, you feel you are the one they are talking about. You feel that you are being monitored. You throw away your phones. You feel people don't like you. You feel worthless, even when you have achieved a lot. You feel anxious, as if you will die anytime. Fear of death, all those things. These are emotional issues that you need to seek help for. If you can seek help for ordinary headache, for malaria and co, why not your mental health? Friends, there's no health without mental health. There's no health without mental health. Think about some of these things. Ask yourself those salient questions. Why do I go to hospital? Because of my heart condition. But when I have brain condition, I call it something else. Attack from the enemies. Evil arrows. Dr. Ogunobi, you don't understand. Enemies are powerful. When they shoot the arrow like this, just begin to talk rubbish. Really? But those enemies, they can't use hypertension, diabetes, rheumatism, pneumonia, tuberculosis, leprosy. It is this mental illness the enemy must use. You to ask yourself, how reasonable is that? As we used to say then, during debate in school, we say after these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince and not to confuse you that while I appreciate spirituality as the basic essence of mankind and religion being the institutionalized spirituality, I also believe that medicine must be allowed to take its course. Mental illness is a medical condition. It's an emotional condition, same way you have physical illness. It should not and it should never be relegated to the back seat. I don't know if you have any comments. If you don't believe what I'm saying, send a DM to me. If you think you need more clarification, send a DM to my inbox. Follow me at Dr. Nubi Peter. Press the notification bell so that anytime I'm live, you can always know and join me. Apart from that, I'm going to post this on my timeline as usual. Copy the post, let people watch. Somebody may be blessed by it. Again, I will never be tired of saying it. There is no health without mental health. I thank you all for joining today. I can see my seniors, Dr. Jibril, I can see Akitade, I can see Olaitan, I can see, I don't know whether this is Olaitan Daddy or Olaitan. Oh, this is my guy. Okay. I can see Fumi on Facebook. People are joining on Facebook. Also, Kwatem, Lady Global. Thank you so much, every one of you. I can't mention everyone, but I want to say every Friday, 6 o'clock, thereabout, we do this over and over. This is the time I say bye-bye. As Yoruba will say, Ajodu, Konile Marele. Till we see again next week, still continuing with spirituality and mental health. I want to say, keep keeping fit. Love yourself. Don't only focus on your physical health, but know that your mental health matters. It's also important for you to say to yourself, it's okay not to be okay. Wear your heart on your sleeve. Tell people around you. Look for social support. Avoid toxic friendship, toxic relationship, anything that will impact negatively on your mental health. Learn to say no at times and not just yes, yes, yes to everything, even if they're affecting you negatively. As much as possible. When you ask people how they are doing, make sure you mean it and not just say how are you and you move away. And when people ask you how you are doing, it's okay to say you are not okay. Before you condemn, make sure you connect. You don't know what people are going through, especially in times like this. Make sure you understand people, have high emotional intelligence, understand their own perspective before you judge them, and be a helping hand to the person around you. I leave you again with my usual word. There's no health without mental health. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.